Okay, study guide for 6.5 and 6.6. Number 1 is asking you to graph the linear inequality. You have the line or inequality x is greater than -7. That's going to be a vertical line. When x equals a number, that's a vertical line. So we have to graph that line first. Now, since there is no line under the inequality, it will be a dashed line. And that will go through -7 on the x-axis. So there's our vertical line. Now, when we have a vertical line and inequality, we shade the side that the arrow is pointing towards. So this one is greater than, that's pointing toward the right, so we're shading everything larger than -7, and that is to the right on the x-axis. So then you shade in the right. There's number 1. Number 2, you're asked to determine whether the ordered pair is a solution of the inequality. Now, our inequality is y is less than or equal to -5x plus 7. And we need to see if 2, -1 is a solution. So what we need to do is substitute in 2 and -1 in for x and y. So let's do that. Here's our inequality. 2 is x, -1 is y. We have -5 times 2, which gives us -10. -10 plus 7 is -3. Now 1 is not less than or equal to -3. It is in fact greater. So that means since this is not a true statement, that this will not be a solution to the inequality. That is number 2. Number 3 is asking you the same thing to determine whether the ordered pair, which is 0, 5, is a solution to the inequality y is greater than x minus 1. So we have to substitute in, so let's do that. So 0 is x and 5 is y. So then we have 0 minus 1, which is -1, and 5 is indeed greater than -1. So since this is a true statement, we could say that the ordered pair 0, 5 is a solution to the inequality y is greater than x minus 1. And that is number 3. Right, number 4, it's asking you to graph the inequality. So we graph the line y equals x minus 5 first. I have a y-intercept of -5 and a slope of 1. Since there is a line underneath my inequality, it means it will be a solid line. So starting at -5, I will go up 1 to the right 1. Okay, that's my solid line. Now, since it is a greater than statement, I will be shading above the line. Greater than, you shade above, less than, you shade below. So I shade above the line, press save, check answer, and that is my answer. So that is number 4. Number 5, I do the same thing. I'm graphing it. So my slope is 4, my y-intercept is 2. Since there is no line underneath the inequality, it means I will use a dashed line. So then my y-intercept, we said, is positive 2. My slope is 4, so I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 1. Now for my shading, it is a less than, so that means I shade below the line, which is on this side. So I shade it, press save, check answer, and there's my graph, and that is number 5. Okay, number 6. So y being greater than 4 is going to be a horizontal line because the line y equals 4 is a horizontal line, and that goes through 4 on the y-axis. Because there is no line underneath the inequality, it will be a dashed line. So go through 4 and choose another point to make it a horizontal line. And now greater than means I shade above the line on the horizontal line, so I shade above, press save, check answer, and that's number 6. Okay, number 7. So we are graphing the inequality x plus 4y is greater than 8. So we need to solve for y first. So let's do that. So I'm going to subtract x from both sides. I have 4y is greater than -x plus 8. So then I divide everything by 4, and I'll have y is greater than -1 over 4x plus 2. So now I can go ahead and graph the line. So my y-intercept is 2. So my y-intercept is 2, and my slope is -1 over 4. Now, since there is no line under the inequality, I will have to use the dashed line. So again, my slope is 2, and I go down 1 over 4. 1 2, 3, 4. Now, greater than means I shade above the line. Press save, check answer, and that is number 7. Okay, number 8. I also have to solve for y before I graph it, so let's do that. Okay, so I need to add x to both sides first. Then I'll have 0.25y is less than or equal to x minus 1.5. Divide both sides by 0.25, and I'll get y is equal to 4x minus 6. 1 divided by 0.25 gives you 4, and negative 1.25 divided by 0.25 is negative 6. So now I can graph that. So my y-intercept is negative 6, and my slope is negative, or is positive 4. It is a solid line because there is a line under the inequality. So I start at negative 6, and I go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, to the right 1. Less than means I shade below that line, so that's on this side here. Press save, check answer. There's number 8. Okay, number 9 is asking you to solve the system of inequalities by graphing. So we have two inequalities. We're going to have to graph them both in shade and see where their overlapping parts are. So let's do that. Okay, so starting with the first one, y is less than or equal to negative 1 over 3x plus 7. My y-intercept is at 7. My slope is negative 1 over 3, so I go down 1 to the right 3, and I do that till I reach the edge of the graph. Then I reverse it. Then starting at 7, I go up 1 to the left 3, and do that till I reach the other edge of the graph. Now, since it is an equal to inequality, I will have a solid line. A less than means I shade below the line. Okay, now that is my first inequality. My second one has a y-intercept of 4 and a slope of negative 1. So I start at 4. Negative 1 means I go down 1 to the right 1, and I do that till I reach the edge of the graph. Then I reverse it by going up 1 to the left 1 from 4 until I reach the other edge of the graph. Now, since that is also equal to inequality, I will have a solid line. Now, greater than means I shade above the line, and the overlapping green part here is my solution. So let's graph that on MathXL. Okay, so both are solid lines. My first one, we said I start at 7. Y-intercept is 7. I go down 1 to the right 3. My second one, I start at 4. I go down 1 to the right 1. And then my shaded part, my overlapping part is in the middle. So I shade it, press save, check answer, and there's number 9. Number 10 is asking you again to graph the solution of the system of linear inequalities. So we need to graph both of them first, see where their overlapping parts are, and that part is a solution. So let's do that. So we have y is greater than or equal to negative x plus 3. My y-intercept is 3, and I go down 1 to the right 1. And I do that till I reach the edge of the graph. Then I reverse it at 3, going up 1 to the left 1. Okay? Now I have a solid line because it is an equal to statement. It is a greater than, so I shade above the line. Okay? My second inequality is y is less than or equal to 2x plus 3. So I start at 3, and my slope is 2, so I go up 2 to the right 1, and I do that till I reach the edge of the graph. Then I reverse it at 3, and I go down 2 to the left 1, and do that till I reach the other edge of the graph. It is also an equal to statement, so I have a solid line, and then since it is a less than, I'll shade below the line. So this green portion here is my overlapping part. Those are my solutions. So let's put that on MathXL. So graphing that on MathXL, I have for my first inequality a y-intercept of 3, a slope of negative 1, so I go down 1 to the right 1. For my second one, I also have a y-intercept of 3, but I have a slope of 2, so I go up 2 to the right 1. Now my shaded portion is right here on the green part, so I will shade Here, press save, check answer, and that is number 10 and the study guide for quiz sections 6.5 and 6.6.